All right. Hello, Pisces. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, your week is getting off to a great start. And thank you so much for making some time today to be with me and to take a look at all of the energy for the next month ahead. So, as you may know, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be taking a look at your monthly reading, which you can use for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And if you stick around until the latter portion, we'll actually dig in a little bit deeper into the Sun, Rising, and Moon components. We're really close to a milestone, by the way, this week. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do that. I think we're going to get enough to do the bonus video. So maybe today you guys will throw me over the edge. So we'll see. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to get straight into channel messages first and foremost. And channel messages for me are the beginning of the reading. This is basically me working with my guides. And I use information from dreams and also meditation and research. And today, what I was seeing here is a lot of clearing energy. Usually there's clearing that happens before you have this sort of breakout moment. And so I saw cobwebs, I was looking at rocks and stuff underneath the rocks in dreams and meditations, and then I also was looking at something that looked like a photo shoot. We're going to talk about all of that and how this relates to Pisces for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Hope you all are doing well. Again, thanks for spending some time with me. Before I get any questions, Mr. Apollo's just chilling out in the background. If he gets up, I'll make sure to bring him up, but he was so happy I thought I would just let him be. So we'll let Mr. Apollo be in the background. All right. Clearing the cobwebs. We're going to start with that first. I actually love a cobweb or a spider as a totem because cobwebs are basically magnets, right? That's how the spider gets its meal. It puts it in place, sets the intention, I'm going to get fed, something flies into the web. It's actually a really good sign for being able to pull something in, abundance and resources in particular. It's almost like a net that you're putting out into the universe. Now, cobweb, maybe not the most elevated version of it, it's still the ability to get what you need. But there is also with cobwebs the feeling like I need to do some clearing so that I can do a better job of manifesting. And I might also have some cobwebs in my headspace, which I usually connect to the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is a distracted card. It's very good at exploring a wide sort of like umbrella of options, but you can sometimes get stuck swimming around in the Seven of Cups. So for some of you, it's simply saying, all right, we've sat here long enough thinking about all of this. Let's just go for that. Okay, so it's almost like you're looking at a menu at a restaurant, whether it's a takeaway menu or you're sitting down and you're eating. There comes a point where you have to order. So this is the point where you have to order and make a decision. You can always try something else later, but now is the time to begin. All right, so for me, again, symbol of abundance, but we need some specificity. We need some decisive energy to bring some motion here. It might also be a really good time to clean. Obviously, cobwebs happen when we haven't done some dusting. So clean the physical space, clean the books, like if there's anything, bills to be paid or taxes to be paid or anything of that nature, get the financial and mental and physical spaces as clear as possible. The reason that the physical spaces should be moved around occasionally is because energy can get stuck. So this is about really clearing out any of that stagnation as well. All right, now what we really want to do is weave a new narrative. So the Three of Pentacles is the builder and the architect, but it actually does begin with the Eight of Pentacles, and plus this has a spider on it, so I wanted to feature this. The Eight of Pentacles is a little bit more of the research and the work, though. It's the student, and the Three of Pentacles is just about the point where you're going to have that mastered and move on to the next thing. So we're a little bit more in the student phase anyway. Create something beautiful with your thoughts. So if we think of an architect, they can either create a palace or a prison. Let's create a palace and let's open all the doors and windows so opportunity can come in. Believing in yourself, believing in the dream allows you to see it. An easy way to put this into 3 words is believing is seeing. So if you can believe it, you have a potential to see it. If you disbelieve or shut yourself off, you're not going to be open to the signs and symbols that are opening up all around you. Since you're an architect, another role could be a writer or director here, cast yourself and others in a different role. Instead of seeing someone as your nemesis, see them as the catalyst to get you out of something. Instead of seeing yourself as always being unable to do something, see yourself as the hero with basically this beautiful sort of path to victory. So the hero or the victor, but not the victim, you're going to allow yourself to rise up. So creating a new narrative, setting a new net for prosperity, clearing out all of that stuff, that's what this month is about for you. Now, the next piece was interesting, and this has been bothering me for a couple of nights. I keep seeing someone looking for something, picking up rocks, and I had to look at all kinds of creepy crawlies, folks. I was looking at centipedes, cockroaches, worms, all these sort of things that would sit underneath a rock. Now, the important thing is they were always there all along, and there's a discovery phase that kind of comes with that investigative work. So some of you are going through a Seven of Swords or a Moon moment where you're discovering that there's some stuff that you need to deal with or someone else needs to deal with. But after that comes the Judgment moment where it's clear, you understand, it's all come to light, and you get to rise above the challenge. So I would encourage you to keep looking, and I basically put in the last couple of bullets here the key takeaways here. Something better awaits you, but you really want to leave no rock unturned, no stone unturned in your life, because you're going to get to the bottom of something, you're going to move past it, you're going to get to the root of a situation, and it's just like a weed in your garden. If you only pluck the top of it and the root's still alive, especially a taproot, it's just going to grow again. So what we need to do is go beneath the surface, get to the taproot, remove that, allow yourself now to be clear, clean, and have a nice firm foundation. So that's basically what I got with that. And I needed to say that so I stopped dreaming of all the creepy crawly things that are underneath rocks. They're all important, they're all beautiful, but I don't want to see them in my dreams anymore. All right. The last thing is what I saw before I woke up, and it was a photo shoot. And I spent a long time in, design, production, and I had been on photo shoots before, so I understand what this is all about. You may see one photograph and think, that's beautiful, that person's beautiful, that environment looks great. Meanwhile, it took hours to create. More than that, sometimes days, because you have to get a permit, you have to have backdrops, you need lights, you need makeup, you need retouching, you have all these things, and you're going to take hundreds of photos to get the one, actually usually thousands, to get that one shot that's spectacular. So sometimes what we're doing is comparing ourselves to a freeze frame that in reality that's not reality anyway, and it's just one moment. For me, the magic is before, during, and after. It's not the freeze frame. So what I'd like for you to live is it's like an everyday living color. I know Apollo. He says, now I'm ready to kind of create a ruckus, so we'll bring him up as we talk about this. So if you can kind of understand that the magic happens every single day, and especially when the lights and cameras are off, that's going to be what's important, and that's what's going to help you connect to your inner magician. So don't worry so much about replicating what you see on film, TV, magazine, or the internet. Instead, take a moment to be present, just like Mr. Apollo forced us to be, because that's when the true magic comes through. Doesn't he look spectacular? He just came back from the groomer. Thanks, Apollo, for helping us pay attention here to this moment. He's still going to dig in his bed behind me, but it's all right. Dogs will be dogs. One thing here is a photo finish isn't necessarily realistic for all of us in everyday life because we don't have that production crew or team. But you do the best you can and realize that that is a projection. Even social media is a projection. Here's what I like about what we do here every day. Grab a cup of coffee or iced tea like I have. Chill out a little bit. Look at what's available to you. I like it because it's real, because there are real things happening, and it's not all sort of like artifice. So I'm just trying to encourage you to be the best version of yourself. That's all you need to be on a planetary and a soul goal, and that's going to help you out. I believe we just got through to everything, yes. All right, so grab some coffee, grab some tea, grab some water. Get ready now because we're going to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks together, and we're going to look at the Celtic Cross. So let me get everything focused, and let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through. I decided to use that deck because I really like that 8 of Pentacles card. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully well. So good to see all of you here. Thank you for spending some time with me. Because I was seeing so much nature in my dreams, I'm like, let's go to one of the decks that's basically all nature-based. This is Wild Unknown. You can go to my website if you want links, affiliate links to support the channel, and you can get one of the decks there. This author always does a great job with her, Illustrator. She does a great job with her stuff. Apollo's still digging around in the background. He's a mixed puppy. I got him as a rescue, so I don't know his exact sort of background, but he has a little bit of terrier in him, Yorkshire, as well as Lhasa Apso and Maltese. But the Yorkshire comes out when he does this stuff. He's a good boy, but he's a dog. And he's like, I want you to pay attention to me. That's part of what it is a little tantrum. All right, let me just clear what's on my screen. Here we go. He's finally settled. Yeah, this is a fun deck to read with because sometimes we get too stuck on the people in the cards, and this brings out sort of, it's totemic. So you're going to be looking at the power of the animal or insect that's featured. So as a reader, it's kind of fun for me too. My only complaint in this deck is I have to really strain when I'm looking at the swords and the wands because she didn't label the minor arcana, and the swords and wands look pretty close. You can see the difference here, like that's wands and that's swords, but I have to look for that little handle piece at the end. Otherwise, they're very, very close. Also, it's so atypical. Like that's a very unusual 6 of wands, right? So you have to really look a couple times before moving forward. All right, let's just take a quick scan of everything. As I'm looking at everything in front of us here, you're moving past the stagnation. So that's why I was seeing cobwebs and picking up rocks and things. So that's the first message I have for you. Stagnation is done. It's going to require some movement. We see successful movement there. There is the accountability thing, and we'll talk more about this, things coming out of, you're going to have to deal with a little bit of ambiguity, but we'll talk about that. Overall, what I like here is abundance and manifestation are really the overarching themes here. So it's a good month. I just like to get a pulse when I'm looking at everything, and I'm not too concerned except how to kind of like awaken you from the sleeping phase here. And that's a nice segue. So we're going to start off with a catalyst. And this is basically rebirth. This is judgment. I picked judgment as one of my cards that I put in the deck there. And basically the burial ground for me would be death. Or legitimately, it is the judgment card that I featured. Let's pull it up for a second, because if we look at the traditional judgment card, give me a moment, we'll go backwards. You can see right here, it's basically souls rising up. So your catalyst is that you're there, that something has come to a close. And then if we look here at what I put here, it's really about the next moment. So the challenge for many of you right now is understanding or embracing that something has come to a close. A chapter is ended. As I put on one of the bullet points though, one door closes, another opens, and I feel like what's ahead is better than what's behind you. But that doesn't make this any less important, any less difficult to deal with, or transitional. You could have just moved to a new place. You could have just started a new job. You could have just ended a key relationship. It could be a combination of any of these things. And as we put things to rest, the other card would be the Four of Swords. Four of Swords and Judgment, they're two different phases. You're putting it to rest here. Six of Swords, you're moving on. Judgment, you're on the next step of the journey. Ready or not, here you come. I recently had a mediumship experience with my mom, and I asked her, if she liked where she was at. And she said, I'd be a fool not to. But she just reiterated what a shock it was to not be in her body, which I thought was the way she was talking, everything was exactly her personality. And when we move in or out of something, the shock isn't just for us, it's also for those who have passed. And so even when we move, like graduating, marriage, divorce, those phases in our life can also come through with the same energy of death and rebirth. But the cool thing is, after this is judgment, and judgment means that you get to recast yourself, just like we were talking about. All right, not extended. Celtic Cross, we're going to look at the Celtic Cross now, taking a look at what's coming through, card by card, breaking it down. All right, so center, Hanged Man. You needed to get out of something, or you needed to move on from something, or you've done everything that you can with a certain aspect of your life. And so it's happening, folks. There's a change underway. but it does involve just sort of like that release. So the sooner you can put something to rest, the sooner things take off. I like any swords cards. The Knight of Swords shows a lot of action, but so does the King of Swords. And basically, what I love about this is it's going to happen in an unexpected and swift manner. I was just talking about the owl. So if you haven't watched the weekly collective, I do a 7-day forecast every single Sunday with a special topic. And the owl was the totem, so we can kind of leverage our learnings from that. The first thing that I talked about on the weekend forecast is the binocular ability of the owl. Its eyes are actually tube-shaped, tubular, not sort of like oval, and they can see in the distance. Doesn't that nicely connect to the High Priestess? Because she's all about seeing the future. So you're already connecting to the next thing. And the other thing with this is the feathers. They made an evolutionary choice to not necessarily be as aerodynamic as they are quiet. So it's swift, it's effective, and it can see where others can't. So if you can act upon the vision, the swiftness will surprise you and it will surprise others, okay? Traditional King of Swords, also connected to great communication skills. Also people wanting to hear what you have to say. So you could be put on the spot and someone could just say, hey, I need a decision on this, or what about this, or where do we stand if it's a relationship? So we're looking at some swift and rapid movements, but I think in an exciting way for all of you. Okay, let's look at the energy from the past here, and we have the Father of Wands, another King sword. Another King card, and with the Father of Wands reversed, it's stubbornness, folks. So sometimes you know what to do, but you have difficulty maybe embarking, embracing, or going towards that. So that's one thing that's coming through with this. The other thing is power, and some of you have been not necessarily asked or forced, but you maybe been put into this sort of cycle where you've been putting a lot of energy into trying to get someone to do something, trying to get them to listen to you, maybe even trying to talk yourself into doing something. The expenditure of energy in trying to get something to happen that doesn't naturally want to happen, that's where we need to see a reset. So it's almost like it's going against the natural flow, swimming upstream. I want you to maybe now swim more with the flow. There are times where it makes sense and we have to stand up for ourselves and we need to make that change happen, but it isn't something that we need to do every single day on every single aspect of our lives. So if there's anything that you can think, you know what, you can take or leave my advice, or you can take or leave this situation, I got to focus on this now. That's going to help you be more impactful and more powerful, have more energy, not be so tired. That's the main message that I get with this. This can also be for those of you in an existing partnership. And by the way, I'll dig into that when I go into the expanded forecast. But some of you just have different communication styles. This person shows, this person talks. So this person's like, why do I have to say this? I just did this, this, and this, which shows that I love you or shows that I'm angry or whatever. This person's like, but I want to talk it out. I need to understand this. So there could be some communication issues in partnerships as well. Very different ways of approaching leadership and communication. So that'll be the key challenge. Again, we'll talk more about that when I get into relationships, but it could impact. This is people that are already in your life because I'm looking at the past. It could impact some of the present relationships, so it's worth mentioning even if in passing here. All right, here's the good news, folks. We have success. It's already underway. A really unusual 6 of wands here, right? Like I said, I had to look at it really closely. There's no swords. Those are wands. The butterfly is the interesting piece on this one, which is transformation, change, and becoming something that you want to become, not that others want you to become. So 6 of wands reversed is trying to meet external expectations or making peace with the fact that you're never going to satisfy that general sort of public. When you really embrace that, when you embrace the fact that in order to do something well, there will always be a certain level of criticism or friction or disagreement, you're going to be fine. If you look at authors on the Amazon bookstore and you take a look at how many ratings there are, the more ratings there are, typically the further away it gets from perfect 5 stars. There might be a few exceptions, but most successful authors are going to be in the 4 to 5 range, but there's always going to be a bell curve. So more people that see it, you're going to get a decent amount that don't like it, some that sit in the middle, And then if there's a majority that are in the 4 or 5 zone, you're like, oh, it's probably a good book. But it's not ever going to be perfect. It's very rare, unless it's a classic and everybody reads it in school and they like it or something like that. So same thing with music, same thing with anything. Go to Yelp, go to Spotify or whatever. You're going to notice that there's a bell curve on every album, every artist. And so when you realize that it isn't, again, about the perfection, it's about, did you do what you set out to do? Are you learning? Can the next iteration be even better? Perfect. You got 5 stars on a cosmic zone. That's all that matters. And to be happy, you have to change, transform, or become the true version of yourself. There's something new that requires you to let go of the old self. And so you're moving out of the caterpillar and into the butterfly. What a beautiful butterfly, too. I liked the spot use of color in this deck, mostly black and white with a little bit of color. Guess what that's highlighting, by the way? Throat chakra, right? It's kind of like throat, third eye, and not so much the crown, but throat and third eye a little bit, mostly throat when I'm looking at it. So communication is key. And you might need to just say what you want or that you don't want something. This card is also highly throat chakra energy here. So you can speak your new truth. You can bring or breathe life into something by doing that. Okay, let's take a look at your crowning card. We have the Queen of Cups. She's reversed. All right, so the big thing for you this month could simply be, and this is you, by the way, too, but it's basically saying, I need a moment. I need to let go of some heavy emotions, or I just need to kind of like, we talked about cleaning out the cobwebs and all of that. You need to clean out the cobwebs a little bit. In the heart space as well. So this could be an old relationship that you're getting over, or just something that you had a lot of attachment to. Do something right now that allows you to feel supported, loved, have some fun, just really kind of open this space up. This is a highly sensitive card, so you're probably picking up on other people's energies a little bit more than you have before. It's intuitive, especially when it's coupled with the High Priestess. So this is the heart being open. This is the third eye being open, connecting the two. You're seeing and you're feeling a lot right now. So write it down, talk it out, get outside, do some exercise, spend some time with your fur babies if you have them. Do anything that you can to kind of help pull this into a grounded energy. The other thing here is it does feel like some of you are overdue to kind of like spread your wings. There could be someone in your life, mother, father, or boss, that has been sort of like really strict or trying to put you in a box. And it does feel like some of you, it's all about kind of like allowing yourself to have the freedom to fly here as I'm looking at these cards. What's it all about? Well, we have 2 really great cards in the near future and the outcome. Near future, it looks like an opportunity is opening up to you. Remember what I said earlier about being able to see it in your head first? It allows you to see it in your environment later. So the King of Pentacles here, we're really focusing on not just the crown, but the chakras that are even above that, because we have a couple chakras above it. And so you're downloading an idea of what's possible here. And then it's about physically bringing it into the world, because he's a very grounded energy. So see it, believe it, and then do something about it. This is also a time to, these 3 tell a story, specifically these 3. No more room to be stuck. No more trying to satisfy everyone else or to put on hold something that you know you're good at but other people don't agree with. You're going to speak up, you're going to act swiftly, and you're going to see pretty rapid movement on that. King of Swords answered by the King of Pentacles. Okay? By the way, I don't care what aspect of relationship you're in this month. This is a busy room not just the chat room, but I'm talking about this, because we have a king, a king, a king. We have a queen. We have a knight over here. We have a lot of, and then the page here. Whenever I see this many court cards, your connections, your networking, your communication skills, they're going to matter a lot this month. And that's why the King of Swords came through. So resources, first of all, you can create, you can develop your own resources, but you're going to have to also ask for things or communicate a lack if they don't exist. And then you have a good chance of being able to get that. Keep it grounded. So if something is impractical or impossible, I was trying to make the 2 one word. If it's just not feasible, much easier there, then use facts and say why. Say, you know what? We can do this, this, and this, but if I try to do that, we're going to risk going over budget. We're going to risk quality. You know, when it comes to you and a partner and you're just saying, I'm doing one too many things, and if I keep doing it, I'm probably going to get sick or stressed, or we're going to fight. Like, there's different ways that the energy can bend or break your sort of like your spiritual energy, and we don't want that to happen. So really speaking up, raising your hand, and asking for what you need, that's going to be so important here. Okay? You have a good chance of getting it. This is a father card, so some of you might be also bringing something into the world. It doesn't have to be a baby. It could be a baby, but this could also be, even though Queen cards are birthing, this is also parenting, and it's basically saying, now I really own this, and I'm going to put some energy into making sure that this continues. So keep putting nurturing energy into the things that you care about the most. How are you showing up? Pretty good. Page of Wands has been showing up everywhere for me, by the way, in daily card reads, in the past couple of reads. And I talked about sometimes it's a little bit of a show that you have to put on. You have to impress people. What I see with this one, though, is the key is how passionate you are. We're looking at that snake there. That is passion. That is also a little bit of timing, because a snake kind of is, notice all the quiet sort of predators that we have in this. So with the owl and the snake, when I think about the way that they go after what they need or want, it's timing. And then when they do it, it's the perfect timing. So that's what I see with this. And then the interesting thing with the snake, with the way that it consumes, sometimes it has the tendency just to take everything in. So you may be asked to just take on something big, and it may feel like it's bigger than you can handle. With a snake, it's not. If it eats a mouse or something, it just eats the whole mouse. So you can actually take on something bigger than you think when it comes to a project or a responsibility. But what you can try to do is set up a safety net and say, I'm willing to try this. Can I count on you for support if I have questions? Can I reach out to someone else if I need a little bit of support just from a resource standpoint? Or can I take this off my responsibility list so that I can really focus on this? You can always adjust, all right? It's a pretty flexible symbol for you. A snake can grow, it can shed its skin, it can hide, it can get exactly what it needs because it acts at the right time. So as a totem, I quite like it. All right, looking at the Page of Wands for you, you might need to articulate your ideas. So you have a good, firm idea mentally. You're going to have to bring it into words or pictures so other people get it as well. All right, let's take a look at your environment. All right, so this one's interesting. It's not how I would normally look at the Eight of Swords, but I like it. So what we're seeing in this Eight of Swords is the chrysalis, which is basically what a caterpillar goes in before it becomes a butterfly. And interesting fact with the chrysalis, it hangs upside down, the Hanged Man, and somebody around you wants you to break through the chrysalis before the timing is right. Eight of Swords typically is blindfolded. So what we just see here is something that you can't see yet, and you can't rush. You can't rush a chrysalis. If you do, you're just going to get a soupy thing, because basically what happens, fun fact, because I've researched caterpillar and moth sort of either cocoons or chrysalises, but basically all of the energy of the caterpillar basically liquefies. The only thing that kind of remains is some of the memories. So the brain sticks around, but most of the body liquefies and it creates this new form. So it almost goes back into a soup and creates something new. But a little bit of the memories remain. It's not unlike rebirth, which is why this is a symbol. We carry a little bit of past life, but not too much. And that's kind of what's happening here. So people can't see everything because it's still in Genesis. It's still in the soupy phase. So if you rush it, it's going to be a little runny. It's going to be a little messy, whatever it is that you put out there. And it's not cooked. It's not ready. So if somebody wants that to happen, then you can say, then it's on you, because I'm not comfortable with this. I don't want it, or I'm just not going to do that. No, stand your ground. Either you need to be protected from the criticism because you're saying, we do this, it's a mess. Or you say, no, I'm not going to do that. Or you're going to have to get approval from someone else, not me. And I don't want to be held accountable for that. So stand your ground, because this is for those of you that are rushing to the finish line. Now, the traditional Eight of Swords, because we're using totems, and this is like a double reading for each card because of the animal symbology. Typical Eight of Swords ask for clarity, ask for information. You're not being shown everything. It's only one away from the Seven, which is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. For this one, we just don't know, but you can always take the blindfolds off. Once you do that, you're liberated by information. Okay? Interesting choice for that card, but I like it when I kind of dig into the symbology of the cocoon or chrysalis, but this is specifically a chrysalis. Cocoons are not usually on trees, they're sometimes in the ground. There can also be a pupa phase, but they're all very similar, where a lot of the animal has to be rebuilt and it goes into 3 different phases. So like the interesting thing, once it does this, so by the time the caterpillar is ready to form this, it sheds its skin and it's already ready to become this sort of hardened shell. Then it changes again and it becomes the butterfly. Some animals have like another form before that, but it's kind of fascinating that it keeps changing, and it's a nice metaphor for life, where we're constantly going through different phases and different versions of ourselves. And you have a lot of animals here that, or insects that shed their skins or change. So we have 2 butterflies and 2 snakes. So shedding, you might be asked at a couple of points to change it up a bit. We didn't even talk about the Hanged Man too much, and I want to talk about it now. So the Hanged Man basically is not just stagnation, but it's saying you've been asked to pause and to stay put so that you could see things from a different angle. That's what this is allowing you to do. It's allowing you to go within. For this one, you want to pay attention to what your higher self is telling you. Also pay attention to what others are saying. So before you speak, listen, because the bat has amazing hearing. Adequate so-so eyesight, amazing hearing. It sees mostly through its ability to hear echoes, right? So you want to listen, because existing information and feedback can inform you and make you a better speaker, and it can help your actions. So don't move until you have the information you need. Don't rush until something is done. And if people try to get you to do that, it's a messy result. We don't want that. Okay, we have our first Knight card here, and it's in opportunities, also hopes and fears. So this is basically just saying, once you have really kind of started to believe and started to pick the right timing to make something happen, then this is about taking that out to the world. The Knight of Wands is acting on an idea. It's getting people rallied, to the cause. The Knight could also then be connected to the traditional Knight that we see in the Six of Wands, who's leading the charge. And so you may be asked to be in the forefront, or you might ask to be kind of like explaining something to someone, because they're like, break it down in everyday talk. Help me understand this. Use visual aids when you're talking about stuff, or use existing examples. It feels like some people in your life are rigid and they need almost like a real case scenario in order to get behind something. Once you do that, things get interesting as well. All right, all of this leads you to the exciting High Priestess card in the outcome. She is reversed. We don't really want her to be reversed. We want her to be in the upright position. So basically, you could know what to do, you could feel what to do, but you might be sort of second guessing. You could be getting good advice, but not listening. So this is really about acting when you receive the call to action, when you have that intuitive download, knowing that it's going to be okay. It's also about making sure that you're not manifesting fears or anxieties. So believing is seeing means that if you can see the potential, you can usually open it up. If you focus only on what isn't working, you tend to reinforce it, and it sticks around longer than it needs, and then you stay in this phase more than you need to. So the way to get out of the Hanged Man is to flip the High Priestess in the upright position and say, oh, I see why I was here. I see what this is about. I see the way out. I'm going to do it. We're going to move forward. This is a time for increased spiritual growth as well. Whenever we see one of these cards like the High Priestess or the Hierophant, it's really about your wisdom, or the Hermit. So I like that for you. Let's now expand the forecast, where we take a deeper dive into health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the energy of health and well-being. Standard disclaimer always applies on this. I'm not a substitute for a doctor, a financial advisor, or any sort of counselor. What I am is a tarot reader and an intuitive, and what I'm doing today is helping you see your potential. It's time to move on. It literally says move in a new direction. We have a card here about moving in a new direction. This Six of Wands is someone riding a horse, typically going in a new direction. This one, we just see someone spreading their wings. And so movement is key to your happiness, to your health, and to well-being. So, I mean, this is pretty much on the nose when we're looking at it. This could be the Fool card in tarot. So this is about taking the first step in a new journey. We see the compass rose up there, and we see someone who's looking with curious optimism. So I think that's the key thing, is to just sort of see what the world might show you, try not to overthink, and just take it a step at a time. Let's see what some of the cards are saying about general health and well-being. I do feel like there's stagnation. I mean, the fact that I actually have got something that represents a graveyard. There could be something where you feel stuck in a place that you're working or a place that you're living, or you're stuck in a relationship and it's just not letting you go to the next level. So it's time to move on if that's the case. Some of you have not moved your body enough. The Hanged Man is particularly connected to the lower parts of your legs, your ankle, your foot, lower extremities, making sure that those are moving and you're stretching all of that. Again, work with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Let's see what else is coming through for you. Time to get your eyes checked or to get your glass prescription filled, whatever. This is typically about eyes. It can also be ears, but typically eyes. And also, don't ignore something. Whether it's the 8 or the 2 of Swords, you don't want to ignore something important going on in your body. Thankfully, there's not anything else that's coming through like, mostly, I just think that it's time to move things a little bit and take care of anything that you've been putting off. The emotional health and the mental health come through the strongest. And so, of course, working with a counselor or someone that can support you in that area might be the next thing that you need to focus on. Let's move on to wealth. Wealth is resources, life purpose, and your career. Got a great card for wealth. It basically says, I call back my power. I've been pulling the Emperor reversed a lot and some of the power cards a lot. Even this one, the power wants to come back to you, but you have to own it. I think you're halfway there, but this card has to do with this part of the body, solar plexus, between basically just below the heart, right around the belly button, the stomach. So some of you could be feeling an activation there where, you have a conversation with someone, you feel like a knot in your stomach, or you might be having digestion issues. Again, there could be a dietary component, but there could also be an emotional or metaphysical component. So for people in your life that tend to come in and want to boss you around. So King of Wands reversed, definitely bossy. You want to stand up to that person and say, no, or this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And basically do something with the intuitive downloads that you're getting and decide, like, I have to, I'm the agent of change. I have to do this. So sometimes we lean on parents, on friends, on bosses, and this moment you're discovering or rediscovering your strength to make it happen, okay? Only you can sort of take the step in the right direction. And I did it, again, 2015, I had to, and I say it that way, but I had to quit my job. But whether I had permission or support, it didn't matter. I just had to do it. But the hardest part was deciding when and then writing that letter of resignation. But I never look back on that. That was the best decision I ever made. So it's this. What are you going to say goodbye to or let go? How are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? What are you saying hello to? Because as you move beyond this, you are saying hello to something else. And seeing what's possible and what's on the horizon and what you're manifesting, that's usually what makes this a lot more easier to get through. All right, what's going on with work and money? Again, some of you have been sitting in something too long, on something too long, holding on to something for too long. Some of you are just waiting for that final phase. So if you know what you're doing and you know that there's a little bit more, don't let someone rush you. Know that what I see here, I would say within the next 6 weeks, or for some of you, at least by the summer or end of summer, we're looking at movement out of that, because this could be 6 weeks or 6 months, but let's hope that it's more on the 6 week sort of end of the spectrum. But I'm not going to rush anybody that's not ready, because I don't want that soupy thing to happen here. But what I see is some really good movement. We got a lot of power. Like, you have your power here, because we have a couple of kings, more than 3 kings, right? King of Wands, King of Swords, King of Pentacles. All that's missing is the King of Cups, but we got the Queen of Cups. You got a lot of energy, a lot of potential. It's just about focusing it. And not trying to please all of these people. This could be a lot of bosses, a lot of people that hold you accountable. So again, remembering that you're the one that at the end of the day has to be happy. That's going to be important. I see money going in the right direction. I see an opening here professionally or personally, but it all comes with movement from something. So I can't help you. You're going to have to figure out how to do that. But what I can tell you is on the horizon, things are looking good. Okay? More people want to hear your voice or hear your thoughts. And I would love to see more creative, what your creativity or your inspiration is bringing through, because there's a lot of creative cards at the top as well. Okay. One last thing when it comes to contracts, make sure that you're getting paid or titled or respected appropriately in that contract. Don't give away the power. All right, now let's move on to love and relationships. The first card, the Oracle card, is going to be for everything that we see here: romantic, platonic, friends and family. Then I'll delve a little deeper into the different aspects of relationships. So listen, observe. That's what the Hanged Man is doing. It's not speaking necessarily, it's watching and it's listening. The observation here is coming more from listening and hearing, and not just sort of like, because I had, it was my paternal grandmother. She never listened, love her still. But you would have a conversation with her and she would be like, and then she would just say something else. And I knew it was like, she didn't hear anything. Sometimes she would hear a few things and she would joke, but she really wanted to get her side out. And it wasn't until she had exhausted all of that that then you could have a conversation with her. But she had to talk a lot. And then eventually, she was intuitive. That's the cool thing. So from my dad's side, there was some intuition there. She was also a dream interpreter. So I listened to a lot of her dreams. But, you know, if you can, you may have to listen it out with somebody. They need to talk. And then they'll be like, oh, wait. So wait, what were we talking about? Then, like the snake or like the owl, swoop in and take that moment and say, okay, give me a moment now. And remind them, say, I listened to you, so I'm asking for the stage right now. And then use that moment to really make it happen. All right, let's take a look. By the way, the observation card could just be seeing what's working, seeing what's not working. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and get some perspective. We're going to look at it in 3 perspectives now. Those in a relationship, or looking at the person you love the most, then those looking for love or happily single. For in love, it can also just be the person who you love the most, and that could be a platonic or a familial love. But your most important relationship is what I'm looking at now. God, there's a lot of people involved. For some of you, you may be in an open relationship, or you may be moving on from a relationship. So I'm getting some like rebound or nostalgia here. But for the rest of you, this is a lot of in-laws, a lot of friends and family, a lot of people around you. So my first piece of advice is keep it simple. Make it more about the 2 of you than this group. And I know some cultures, extended family is important, but unless the 2 of you are together and on the same page, I almost feel like the extended family needs to file in around your rules and yourself. So if you are inviting, more people into the house, make sure that they realize it's your house. If you're living with someone, it's a lot trickier. If you're living with your parents or your in-laws and it's their house, it is sort of like about how to make sure that the 2 of you are keeping it together. So not getting lost in the sort of sea of people is one thing. Now let's just take it as more just general messages here. So one or both of you could be getting impatient. I feel like you're on the precipice of some really rapid movement. Don't rush until you're both ready. First piece of advice, talk. Talking is key. If you can talk about your hopes, your fears, your anxieties, all that jazz, you're going to be all right. There's a lot of external pressure to be successful and to be a certain way. The picture perfect couple that I was looking at, the picture is not real. Be real, and people can take it or leave it. I see family, like children are coming into the picture here. If you're thinking of starting a family, this is sort of, because they're gendered. It could be twins. There could be a younger child coming in when there's an older one, and that's going to change the dynamics. You could also be, one of you could be dealing with a sibling issue as well. But I'm looking at children or siblings, oddly enough, affecting this, so sort that out as well. It looks like you guys can go wherever you want to as long as the communication is there. That's my main takeaway with that. If you're looking for love right now, well, there's too many options. So yes, we're getting tons of options here. I would say be more discerning, be more specific, and don't settle for less than what you are looking for. Not like be picky to the point that nobody's perfect, but you don't have to. There's so many options here. I would say just you feel it or you don't. The spark is there or it's not. Don't waste your time because I do see a lot of things coming through. The one thing that could be holding you back is, are you where you want to be? Because as you start to call in partners, they could challenge your stagnation in a certain area. They may ask you to move somewhere. They may ask you, but you want to make sure that your life is completely where it needs to be. So I want you to get out of the chrysalis and be solid first. Then you're going to be pulling someone who's a really good match. And I do see it here in the form of a King of Pentacles, someone who's got their career, their life, their health, their family, all that sorted. So the more you can embody King of Pentacles energy, like I just talked about, the more that person shows up and they're an even match for you. Okay? If you are happy and you're not looking for love, the good news this month is you seem to be a magnet for people. So networking skills are so important. I would be spending a lot of time growing your social, your work, and any other strategic sort of networking that you want to create movement in. There could be a person leaving your sphere, but there's a lot more people coming in, which is great. So whether you're on a rebound or you're leaving a job or you lost someone that you love, I see a lot of other energies coming in to support, rally, and open up new opportunities. And the main thing for all three aspects that I just looked at is, what do you want? The universe is kind of asking you, what are you trying to create? I need some clarity from you. Not me, but like the cosmic universe, needs some clarity from you. Okay? Good. Let's move on to your destiny card. It changes every month based on what you're working on. We have the stork, and the stork tends to bring in, like when we think of the silly thing that we show children, that babies come from a bird from the sky. Let's stop that. But the stork can represent like the sun, a birthing sort of energy, or a baby or something new. The stork also has this capacity because of its beak, again, to take in more than people expect. And it's moving. We like this. So you've got a lot of flight, a lot of movement, but there's something that I feel like you've been holding on to too much, too long. And if I look at the stork reverse, and we'll go with the traditional metaphor for a baby or a delivery, something's overdue. This is the time to let it go. All right, we're going to look at the next piece, which is a big idea. Big idea is something that can kind of tie it all together. The catalyst is how to create action, which is the burial ground. This is basically judgment. And now we're going to look at, all right, so what's after all of this? What's this all about? Why is it all happening? The 10 of Pentacles. Before anyone says there's only 9 pentacles, there are 10. So if you look at the center star, there's a star within a star. See that? Okay. So, because I get people always when I pull this card, there's only 9. No, there's 10. So there's that little rock that I was talking about. You got to look closer in some of the symbols, and then you'll see this. The 10 of Pentacles is reversed, but in this particular illustration, does it really matter? No. So something unexpected coming through, something from a different angle. You might be sitting on an opportunity, which is the rocks that you're lifting could be an old email in your inbox, could be a letter that you put under something in the kitchen, could be a voicemail that you meant to get back to, but you didn't. You're sitting on something. This is a chance for you to, for those of you that have been sitting on something, to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't get back to you. And then movement starts to happen. This is also saying, you could be breaking the tradition in the best possible way, because the Ten of Pentacles is tradition. I'll pull the traditional card while we're talking. But normally you would see like a grandpa, you would see an extended family, you would see a symbol of, a husband and wife or whatever. It's like tradition. So you're breaking all of these traditional ideas of what it is to be success. It's also money. It's also contracts. So you could be breaking tradition. You could be needing to rewrite a contract or to break a contract. Whatever it is, it's for your highest good. Make sure that you're comfortable with being someone that's a little bit different. So everything I just talked about is there. We got the grandpa, we got the kids, we have partnership, we have a gateway to something new, we have money, abundance, contracts. The Ten of Pentacles packs a bunch of stuff in. Like of all the minor arcana cards, there's a lot in this one. And it's a lot more nuanced and complicated than some of the other ones. It's almost like a major. So with this, you get to basically, and there's also the tree of life here, this, if you look at how the pentacles are arranged. So the most important thing to any tree is the foundation. Your foundation right now, it feels like you're doing a little bit of renovation. And for you to find the foundation that you need, it might need to look different, or you might need to break down an old structure to make something stronger, okay? Good news with this is you can get what you're looking for typically. It's just not necessarily the picture perfect Ten of Pentacles Rider-Waite-Smith illustration that we've all come to love. It's something different. So it's okay if it's something different. All right? It's movement. It's cyclical. You'll figure it out. And you already embody that. The 10th pentacle is in your heart space. It's within. So you embody that which you seek. Once you are able to stand up for that, then you can start to really see things happen in an amazing way. It's the first time I kind of looked at it that way, but I like it. Each time I read, it's so funny, like I've looked at cards for, decade and a half or whatever, but every time you look at them, you'll get something different based on the arrangement, based on the reading, based on everything that's coming through intuitively. So always exciting. Sun, rising, and moon messages. Let's take a look and see what's coming through. Okay, let's chat. So for Pisces Sun, you're the ones where I was looking at all this stuff underneath the rock. We got some of them here. We have some earthworms or maggots or whatever. Listen, they're important pieces of the overarching food chain. So I never look negatively on any insect. It's part of everything. What is this about? So the Nine of Swords. Sometimes we're afraid of things and we breathe life into them. It's like a nightmare. When I look at that, it's a scary card. So, not fun to kind of hold up for the long term on this one. But I'll pull the traditional one so we can look at it. But the creepy crawly insects on there are saying, you know what? There are some things that we need to consider. There are some things that we need to look at. And once you look at a fear, once you understand it, once you put it in its proper sort of place in your life, it no longer has the same jurisdiction that it had before. So the first thing that I would say for you is not to be overwhelmed by an anxiety. If you can change your fears and make it into a butterfly, like think of that. Anybody that acts or sings or has an important meeting, you get those butterflies for performance, right? That's good. That's going to free you. That's going to make you be your best self. Hopefully the butterflies don't, drive you crazy. Just a little bit. We want to try to take some of that and say, well, let me just give it my best. I'll try to be the best version of myself that I can. So here's your traditional Nine of Swords. It's someone that's just afraid to see. They're afraid that they might see this, right? But usually it's not that bad. Of all of the Swords cards, I fear the Nine the least. It's just fear itself. And so once you can kind of rationalize, breathe, like I think of what happens when I have a nightmare. Nowadays, I kind of think, I go into this, I'm like, what did that symbolize? What's that about? And so I go more into curiosity and investigator mode, and almost immediately the fear leaves me and I'm like, oh, that means this. And I was, I can kind of figure out why it came through. So if you can figure out what's informing, creating, or feeding your fears, you can overcome them. Now, if again, we look at the traditional illustration, sleep could be an issue for some of you. Sleep quality, sleep quantity, also your bed. You might need to get a new pillow, new mattress, or look at, better blinds, whatever it is that's kind of creating some issues with sleep. stress management, sleep management, and fear. If you can overcome those things, then you can embrace all the opportunities that want to flood in this month. All right? All right. Moving on from the sun to the rising, this is beautiful. This is one of my favorite ace cards. Yeah, it's reversed, but it really doesn't matter because we're looking at the rings of a tree here. So with the Ace of Pentacles, also, by the way, it's kind of like that 10th pentacle that we saw here at the center. You can't always see it when you're looking at the core of a tree. We can't really see how old it is. We can't see what's going on. It's not until you kind of look in at the core of what's happening that you can see how many years this tree's been around. Ace of Pentacles, you have the ability right now to create something that has staying power. We see a pretty old tree here, maybe 100 years or so. You see something that's really going to sustain and make you happy. As you look at new opportunities in your life, one thing is just simply to own, feel, and realize that you have that potential. You're worth it. Like that silly hair commercial from the 70s or 80s. Yeah, you're worth asking for something or getting something. So when something comes through that's beautiful, the Queen of Cups would just say, yes, thank you. I appreciate this. Queen of Cups reverse is not certain. She's not ready. So I want you to be ready. Whatever you need to do to get ready, that's your sort of homework this month. Working on self-confidence, self-worth, so that when the net worth opportunities come in, you can really embrace it and go and grow with those opportunities. That's pretty much what I have there. The last thing is someone could be putting something on the table for you. Invitation for a party, invitation for love, for marriage, an offer for work. Is it good enough for you? That's part of why this is reversed. You and only you can decide that. From rising to moon, we have the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is holding on to something longer than you need to. We also see each one of these being tied to the other one. So sometimes we feel like we are tethered or tied to an old promise or an old version of ourselves. If you look at it in like the Toth imagery, this is kind of more of a foundational card. Rider-Waite-Smith, it's sort of a block or a limit. Here's your traditional one. We see the person holding that pentacle right over his heart. And he's got his mind on the money, he's got his heart on the money, and he's putting his feet on it too. He's saying, I got to touch it, I got to see it. It's everything. So this is basically saying, could you be a little bit more flexible in things and see beyond the sort of like the money signs in front of you, the euro, the dollar, whatever it is that you're looking at in your bank account. Look beyond that and think, is this enough? For some of you, you're not getting paid enough or you're giving away too much. For some of you, you might be working, but it's not worth it at the end of the day. So we're looking beyond the value and we're looking at fulfillment. And we're also looking at standing up for what it is that you want again, which is a common theme this month. Once you do that, it can be a foundational card and only better things await you. Okay? But this one is more imminent than the other ones where it's saying it's time to let go of something. So that's sort of like the big so what if I look at all of these is this, it's the judgment moment that's already happening. So my question to you is what next? Because change is afoot, development and rebirth and reinvention is already happening. It's sort of like, what do you want to do with that? What do you want next? Because if you can clarify that, you can actually really start to create some exciting changes in your life and you can birth a new sort of version of yourself. All right. We have one more part that we're going to look at in just a moment, which is the final card. Before we do that, we're going to quickly meditate. The final card is any question that I haven't answered yet. So type it in your phone, keep it in your head, write it down. And then after we meditate, I'll take a look at that. If you haven't already followed me on social media, please give me a follow and please give me a like and subscribe here. Let's go ahead now and get ready for the meditation. For today's meditation, we're going to work on coming out of that cocoon or that chrysalis. Feels like cocoon is a little easier to see, so we'll work with that. It's more of a moth emerging, but it works. All right, so take a moment now, close your eyes, and just relax. Our meditation will last about 2 minutes, and then we'll get into that final card, but just try to enjoy in the meantime. As you breathe in, just kind of open up. Imagine that there's blue sky all around you. You're pulling some of that blue energy into your throat, into your heart, into your body, and seeing your horizons open up. On the exhale, letting go of any heavy thoughts or energies, maybe even seeing a sort of plume of smoke or dust go into the sun above and just dissipate. Now imagine that you are lying on the ground, and instead of a traditional cocoon, you can see these rings of energy that are sort of circulating around you, all the different colors, if you'd like, or just this beautiful glowing white cocoon of light. It's protected, it's safe. It's a place where you just feel cozy, and it's like getting up on a cold winter's day. You don't necessarily want to do it. But you're looking at the rising sun. You're looking at people on the horizon walking into your periphery. You're looking at all of these things, opportunity, love, things that you've been trying and wanting to create. They're within reach, but it requires coming out of the shell, out of the cocoon. So imagine, if you will, that you're able to take one of these sort of rings of energy and, like a lasso, put it around a tree and pull yourself up. And then you just absorb that lasso of energy. And you realize, oh, these are like tools. All of the rings of light I can actually use as tools or lassos or a web. And as we meditate here, you can imagine that you're creating something with these strings. It's almost like you have this string of energy. So if you want to keep it simple, you could just imagine that you've created a net and you're going to throw it out, or a boomerang or a lasso, whatever image is easiest for you. You're going to throw that out, because all of these things come back to you. And you're going to say, I'm ready to receive this, this, and this, or something higher in divine timing for my highest good. And imagine now that you have issued the call, and now you're going to be the high priestess, and you're going to await signs and symbols so that you can recognize that synchronicity that you're manifesting. See things coming towards you, opportunities coming towards you. Imagine now that you are standing up on the shore. You can see the horizon is clear. You can see, almost like the Three of Wands, your ships and opportunities coming towards you. And now it's just a matter of meeting them at the pier and saying, I've been waiting for this. Yes, let's do this. All right. Take a deep breath and plant your feet on the planet here on the earth. See yourself back in your body. Rub your hands together if you need to bring cognition and recognition back into this body, into this place. Place them on your heart. And if you haven't already done so, open your eyes now, please. Okay, at this point, I'd like you to focus on your final question. Just say it in your head. You don't need to type anything. Just kind of concentrate on it. And let's see what the message is for this final question. It's a wonderful one. Ace of Cups. Ask and you shall receive. This is exactly what I'd want for a manifestation meditation. This is basically the universe offering you something that you've been dreaming or wanting or desiring, because this represents desire and love and happiness and hope and good stuff, folks. I like it. This is a time for your heart to mend. Even if you don't have a love interest coming in, this is a nice sort of answer to this. Release and repair. And this will allow for this is the cup that the Queen of Cups needs to be able to receive. So you've got it coming in. It's happening. If you keep meditating, keep focusing on doing the work, then yes. And this is simply a yes. All the aces can be yeses, and time-wise, they're either like a 1 or a 10. So it can be a day, it can be a week and a half, it can be 10 weeks. It's short time period though. It's not gonna take a full year usually with an ace. It's pretty fast. So be open to manifesting and recognizing the synchronicity sooner than later. Choose happiness, choose to receive, and good luck, okay? It's a good card. Thank you so much for a magical reading. I always like reading for Pisces. Like I've said before, I have a very open, intuitive energy by the time I get to you guys. Usually you're on a Monday too, and I've just gotten off a intense sort of weekend collective reading, so it's always nice to read for your sign. All right, do me a favor. If you enjoyed this, it's your first time here or you've been watching for eons but haven't done it, subscribe. I think we're gonna hit 250 this week. 350, which is exciting. And we'll do a special reading where I do a Q&A for members and Patreon supporters. So let's get to that because those are always fun too. You can also follow me across social media. TikTok may be going away. Who knows what's happening with that. But it's my name on all social media platforms. You can always go to my website if you're curious. And one thing I'd like to remind people of is I don't give private readings. I don't offer products or services in direct messages. I don't have extra accounts. And if you see someone pop up and they have like 2 followers or they have misspellings and they've changed the username, it's not me. So always be smart about that. Thank you for everybody who gave back with super stickers, super chat, and super thanks. I'm going to take a moment here to extend a little bit of gratitude, and then we'll wrap up for today. Okay. Remember, while I'm doing this, that I'm live every Monday, Thursday, and Friday for all the monthly readings. I show up every Sunday and we talk about the week ahead as well as a special topic that you guys help me select. And I do daily reads as well. I'm a busy guy and I try to put a lot of content out there. I'm also working on a podcast that's going to launch later this year. So you can sign up for my newsletter, which is on my website. If you want to get some more information on that, you can just click on the newsletter link at the top menu. All right, again, I want to spend a little bit of time saying thanks here. So to the newest members, anybody that joined in the last, actually, we have a lot that joined from yesterday. I'll just start, I'll say as many as I can here. So Handy, Nicole, Sloopy, Mercathia, Darylyn, Leslie, DJ, Sarah, Liza with a Z was from yesterday. And I think everybody else I said yesterday's reading. So thank you to all of those folks for joining, rejoining, and being a part of this community. Like I said, we'll have a special reading here within this next week, and hopefully you can ask some questions in the post that I put there. For super stickers and super chat, let me just quickly give some gratitude here to Rose, my sole contributor today. Thank you so much for showing up and for your love and support. I appreciate that. Thanks to everybody for being a part of this community, for allowing me to grow, and for letting me show up and chat for a bit. It's always fun to do so. All right. Wishing you all the best now and always. Take care of yourselves. Good luck, and make this a great month. You have a lot of options and a lot of opportunities on the horizon for you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.